The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your host, Jason Beck, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Good morning, everybody. That's right. It's Monday, September 8th, and today is National Star Trek Day, I guess. Nanu.
Oh, that's cool. My dad would have liked that.
Your dad would have liked that.
Nanu? Isn't that Mork and Mindy?
Oh, that is Mork and Mindy. Son of a bitch. Oh, man. Damn it.
Wow.
Good catch, Jesse.
Nobody even knows who that is.
Prosper, Jason.
I wonder how many people in the audience actually know Mork and Mindy.
Oh, man.
Even if you're of age, that's an obscure show.
Mork and Mindy was fantastic, bro.
I forgot about that. Wasn't it Robin Williams?
Yep.
Oh yeah, that was his first big thing.
That was it. He had the little egg that he flew in on.
The suspenders.
Yeah, the suspenders. Yeah, that's classic, bro. Classic.
So anyhow, Star Trek is live long and prosper.
Exactly.
There we go.
I was going to
Live long
say.
and prosper. I just remember they did the thing with a hand, and I couldn't do it. I can't get my hands to do that.
Live long and prosper.
To boldly go where no one has gone before.
Yeah, boldly.
The USS Enterprise. Beam me up, Scotty. All right.
Yeah,
cool.
beam me up, Scotty.
Anna
Yes,
Lewis.
that was it. Yes. What's that, Jesse?
Anna Lewis in the chat.
Yes.
I haven't seen her for a minute.
Mm-hmm. It's also National Boss Employee Exchange Day today.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Boss Employee Exchange Day?
Yeah, as in communicate, exchange ideas, see how things can workflow better. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. It's not like switch roles day, Jesse.
That's a lot to deal with on a Monday.
That's what it sounded like.
Oh boy.
I'd rather unpack that on a Tuesday. You know.
Well,
Or if you're American Apparel, it's Fluid Exchange Day. That's an old joke.
It's also National Pediatric Hematology Oncology Nurses Day today.
Okay.
Shout out to the nurses.
Shout out to their union lobbying for a whole fucking day. So.
Hey, someone's working apparently, Jenny Beth.
They deserve it, you know.
And thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above and down below to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, Instagram, Facebook, Kick, as well as on our very own website at www.high9news.com. So welcome to everyone join us from any one of those platforms. And we are kicking it off this morning with Miss Jenny Beth Dills. She's the founder of Kind Cannabis and of Justice Served, a 501c3 that helps justice-impaired individuals get their life back on track after they have been victims of the track. It is none other than Miss Jenny Beth Dills. And I think, are you coming in as Casper the Friendly Ghost today, Jenny?
Yeah, I'm invisible.
Mm-hmm.
I lost some weight.
Cute.
Mm-hmm. All right. Speaking of losing things, Massachusetts legal cannabis industry could soon face its biggest threat. This week, Attorney General Andrea Joy Campbell certified a ballot petition that would give voters the chance to shut down the entire adult-use cannabis market in 2026. The proposal, dubbed an Act to Restore a Sensible Marijuana Policy, was filed by political consultant and prohibitionist ally Carolina Cunningham, who has close ties to the group Smart Approaches to Marijuana. Duh.
Mm-hmm.
If it makes the ballot and passes, it would completely repeal the state's licensed recreational cannabis system, wiping out an industry that has generated more than $8.3 billion in sales, $1.4 billion in tax revenue. It supports more than 27,000 jobs since launching in 2018. Two versions of the petition were certified. Version A includes strict potency limits on medical cannabis, capping flower at 30% THC and concentrates at 60%, which is boo. With heavy restrictions on dosage and packaging. Version B keeps the medical program intact without those restrictions. Both versions would end the commercial adult use market. Instead, possession of small amounts would be decriminalized with limited protections for consumers, while nearly 91% of today's regular market could disappear. The Cannabis Control Commission would lose oversight of adult use businesses and regulate only medical cannabis going forward. For this measure to move forward, Cunningham's group must collect more than 74,000 valid signatures by December 3rd, 2025, followed by an additional round if lawmakers don't act. If it makes the ballot and voters approve, Massachusetts' $1.6 billion adult use cannabis industry would shut down, on January 1st, 2028. In other words, prohibitionists are betting big that Massachusetts voters are willing to turn back the clock on legalization and move no other state has taken once a regulated market has been established. Well, so this story sucks. Not surprised that Kevin Sabet was a big part of this. It even sounds like a name that he would come up with for this ballot initiative. We're going to see if you can really put the toothpaste back in the tube. But my whole opinion and my whole issue with Schedule 3 is we'd be doing this across the country. But hey, that's just my thought. I know Michael Minardi disagrees with me, but that's how I feel about it. Going back to you guys.
Oh man, Jenny Beth, this is, my first question is this. That's a lot of signatures to get. I do think there's probably enough Karens in Massachusetts that would fill that. But I also wonder how many dead people are going to sign this petition.
Well, they have to validate those signatures, Jason, so that would make it difficult.
Well, they let the dead people vote.
It's hard to hold a pen post-mortem,
They let the dead people vote, so why wouldn't they let them sign on a petition?
So they got to get 90,000 signatures?
I believe it was 67,000. Let me look again. 74,000.
74,000.
That's how many they got, but
that's how many they need.
To gather another 12,000. Oh, if they don't act on it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I seriously doubt that this will pass.
What's the population of Massachusetts?
Oh man, you're gonna make me go Google.
Google knows.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
All right.
Google knows because I sure shit don't. Good morning, Yarrow.
I think you should. I think a better question, Jesse, would be what is the voting population in Massachusetts?
Well, you don't have to be a voter to sign a petition.
Yeah, you do.
Do you?
Yeah. Yeah, you have to be a registered voter in order to sign a petition. For a ballot initiative, yes, you have to be a registered voter in order to sign a petition. That's how it works, Jesse. Otherwise, all those people would just, have their 5-year-old sign. I mean,
that number might be harder to come by.
How many registered voters are in the state of Massachusetts? It's not that difficult.
I'm looking. Well, it doesn't just pop up like other things. It's actually 5 million. It's like, is that right? Registered voters, yeah. 5 million people.
That's a lot, pretty condensed state right there.
70% of the population. That's pretty good.
Well, we know that's definitely not 70% of the population, bro. Because how many the voting records?
People.
The voting records in Massachusetts have not been purged yet, bro. There's plenty of dead people on there.
So, yeah, that's a lot of somebody's. I've never heard of a state that has 70% registered voters. I thought it was like 40%, but maybe I don't know. Massachusetts is a different state that way. The point, though, is even if it's 5 million people, 70,000 signatures is nothing. That's easy to get.
You think
that seems like a low number. For a change like this to happen, you only need.
Well, it's not to happen. It's to whether or not it goes onto the ballot, Jesse. It's not whether or not it happens or not.
Well, I know. Just for you to even go onto the ballot, you only need 1% of people to speak up.
I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to that. You know what I mean?
1%?
I'm not opposed to that.
That seems nuts to me. I don't like rules like that. I don't know where they come from. I don't know what the deal is, but just having a vocal minority of 1% of people, dude, why wouldn't you be opposed to this? So they're threatening to unroll the adult use regulations that exist in Massachusetts.
You're conflating my words right there. You're conflating my words.
But this is what happens is 1% of Karens speak up and they make things happen that shouldn't happen.
Let the people vote.
Do that.
Let the people vote. I think the people did. I think that. What do you mean they are? You're missing what I'm saying.
Does the adult use regulation exist or not?
The adult use regulation does exist, yes. But my
people already voted.
My point of what I'm trying to say, Jesse, is that the 1% threshold in order to get something on the ballot, I'm totally fine with. I don't have a problem with that. I would like to have as many things for people to vote on a ballot as humanly possible. So I'm not opposed to that 1% threshold as being the qualifier to determine whether or not people vote on an individual issue or not.
That seems like a low number to me. I don't like it.
Welcome, Michael Minardi and Yarrow Kubrin. So nice of you guys to join us today.
Oh, I was just having tech issues with my camera.
We could see
God's
that.
way of saying he didn't want the world to see me.
It's probably because you didn't shave yet today, Yarrow.
I mean, I'm feeling sexy with my silver 5 o'clock shadow. I'm also feeling sad that we're acting as an echo chamber to perpetuate these concerns around voting that have been hyped up by only one side of the partisan aisle in a way that doesn't match the statistics and historic safety of our election system, and really has been a Trojan horse for disenfranchising groups of voters under the auspices of, well, don't you need an ID, and all these dead people voting on the election rolls, and time that stuff gets debunked. And I'm not sure how you drank the same Kool-Aid coffee, but I wouldn't be me if I didn't push back against
I love it, bro. I'm here for
the
it.
echo chamber hogwash that you continue to sort of use this platform to perpetuate.
I mean, I just perpetuate the truth, bro.
Well, it's not the truth, and so that's a problem.
That is
problem
truth.
for viewers that come here for information.
I don't know about all that, buddy. I know a lot of people that would totally disagree with you and that opinion that you have. But it's okay. That's what we're here for. We're here for the favorable discourse. Michael, any thoughts on this? I know you've said in the past that you don't think that this is going to pass. I don't think it's going to pass either. But the question is, do you think it'll make it onto the ballot?
So I jumped in a little late. You're talking about the Massachusetts one that just got certified, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be passed, but exactly that. Democracy is democracy, and sometimes people should have a right to vote if they meet those thresholds. It's really hard to get something on the ballot here in Florida now.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll see what happens, but I don't think under any circumstances it's gonna pass. So, but we'll see.
Yeah,
it was only 53% when it won, so we'll see what kind of benefit people have seen from any tax revenue or anything like that in the state.
Interesting. Any final thoughts, Yarrow, before we move on?
I agree with Michael.
Okay. All right, fair enough. And on that, we're going to roll into our first commercial, and we are going to be right back. Oh, and we are back, you guys. We are back. Well,
coming up next, instead of summarizing the story, Jason Beck's going to read a long one. Let's read fast, buddy. The highest Republican and the head honcho of the High at 9 News, Jason Beck.
Mm-hmm. Well, I am. This story is long, and you can read the full version, the full story on our website. But I think this is an important story.
That's okay. Let's just hope there's not any big words in there. Easy there, Jenny Beth. Easy there. Because they're saying Odor
In the court, you guys, that's right. Because police still use odor to justify searches, even though legal hemp and illegal marijuana smell the same. The state Supreme Court is now going to weigh in. Because 2 trained narcotics investigators with the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office made a scientifically dubious claim before a judge in October of 2022 that they could smell the difference between legal hemp and illegal marijuana, you guys. That's right. Officer Jason Cleary told the judge that marijuana has a very distinct, strong smell and that hemp is not as pungent and as strong as marijuana. Lieutenant Russell Davenport testified that he had attended a marijuana spotter school and that he had the training and experience to know marijuana when he smelled it. Experts agree, however, that hemp and marijuana smell exactly the same and no human or even canine could sniff out the difference. But whether officers can use a smell test to justify searching someone's vehicle, person, or property has led to numerous legal challenges that have made their way through North Carolina's appellate courts. In 2022, in the 2022 case, the 2 officers had surveilled a suspected drug house, and Davenport said he smelled marijuana as he passed by a car parked out front. When the driver left, Cleary conducted a traffic stop. Behind the wheel was a teenager referred to as JBP in court documents because he's a minor. Clearly also said he smelled marijuana, and which the officers used as probable cause to search the vehicle. They seized purported marijuana, a digital scale, a handgun, and the officers had no field test to definitively identify the substance. Even the state crime lab doesn't have the testing capability to distinguish between hemp and marijuana, and JBP filed a pretrial suppression motion arguing his constitutional rights against unreasonable search and seizure had been violated. The judge granted the motion after the October 22 hearing and dismissed all of the charges. Prosecutors appealed the North Carolina Court of Appeals, and a 3-judge appellate panel unanimously overturned the ruling, concluding that probable cause is such a low legal standard that it doesn't matter whether what the teenager possessed was legal hemp or illegal marijuana. In a quote, "The question is not whether an officer can discern the difference between illegal marijuana or legal hemp, but rather based on training and experience and whether the officer reasonably believes he or she smells marijuana," the panel ruled. State legislators legalized hemp growing in 2019 to fall in line with federal law and permanently declassified hemp as a controlled substance in 2022. And since then, hemp has become a multi-million-dollar business in North Carolina. Some legislators, law enforcement officials, and prosecutors worried that the changes would make it virtually impossible to use odor alone as probable cause to justify searching someone's car. And the State Bureau of Investigation warned as much in a 2019 memo. In a quote, "The unintended consequences upon passage of this bill is that marijuana will be legalized in North Carolina because law enforcement cannot distinguish between hemp and marijuana, and prosecutors could not prove the difference in court." But law enforcement officers still use odor alone as probable cause, even though, as one attorney arguing last year before the Court of Appeals said, the smell of marijuana no longer legally exists, and state appellate courts have so far allowed law enforcement officers to continue using the justification for a search. In some cases, including JBP's, the Court of Appeals has maintained that odor alone is sufficient. In other cases, the court has said there was other evidence that led officers to believe illegal activity might be occurring. But, and in all of those cases, the appellate court has ruled that probable cause is such a low legal standard that an officer simply believing that they smell marijuana, regardless of how possible that actually is reason enough. On September 9th, the state Supreme Court will hear oral arguments in the 3 different cases, State versus Sheeny and State versus Dobson and State versus Rowdy, centered on the question of whether odor can still be considered probable cause. The only way to distinguish between marijuana and hemp is through a chemical analysis, and however, the state crime lab doesn't have the kind of testing that could easily determine whether a law enforcement officer sees marijuana or hemp, and local law enforcement agencies have no field test that can do the same. The state crime lab can only test for the presence of THC, not the quantity, and Nazneen Ahmed, a spokesperson for the North Carolina Department of Justice, said that while the testing equipment that could make such a determination exists, it's expensive and the General Assembly has not provided funding to acquire it. Rod Kite, an attorney who watches High at Nine News and an internationally known lawyer who represents the hemp industry, said before hemp was legalized, tests didn't have to be accurate. Finding the presence of THC was sufficient. But in the advent of legalization of hemp, which now in North Carolina we're going on 10 years, the fact that the state crime labs have not changed to a different metric is absurd, he said. Legal experts have said that the current legal landscape is ripe for violating people's constitutional rights against reasonable search and seizure, and Morgan Davis, a Raleigh attorney who specializes in cannabis law, said recent court appeal rulings have placed North Carolina in a unique position. State legislators have legalized a popular product that is indistinguishable in sight and smell from marijuana, an illegal product. Yet the courts still allow law enforcement officers to use the odor of alleged marijuana as probable cause. And that unnecessarily exposes many of her clients to the criminal justice system, she said. Those clients then have to hire attorneys, attend court hearings, miss work, and rearrange daycare for their children in order to properly defend themselves. And they face the risk of going to prison if they're found guilty. In a quote, You're taking what is otherwise a lawful substance and still allowing it to be the determining factor as to whether or not someone's constitutional rights are overridden by law enforcement priorities, Davis said. And it's a completely legal substance. That's mind-boggling. Anyways, but rear evidence suggests that the North Carolina Attorney General would agree with that assessment when Jeff Jackson ran for the U.S. Senate before dropping out in 2021. He called for ending the federal prohibition on cannabis, and in a video he noted that Virginia had decriminalized marijuana in a quote, "What about to become a cash crop for Virginia farmers can still get you prison time in North Carolina," he said. That Jackson argued didn't make sense, and Jackson also mentioned stark racial disparities in marijuana arrests. People of color are 3 times more likely to get arrested for marijuana use than white people, Jackson said in a quote, "You cannot have a full conversation about racial justice without addressing the racial patterns of enforcement that we've seen with marijuana laws," he said. But the state attorney general's office, which Jackson had led since January, had repeatedly defended using the odor of alleged marijuana as probable cause in searches. In a quote, in the advent of legalization of hemp, which now in North Carolina we're going on for 10 years, the fact that the state crime labs have not changed to a different metric is absurd, he says. Benjamin Kuehl represents Cody Sheen and Tyrone Dobson, 2 defendants whose cases go before the state Supreme Court this month, and in court documents, Cole noted the apparent contradiction in Dobson's case, and Cole declined a request for an interview. But state prosecutors have argued that Greensboro police officers had probable cause to search the car Dobson was in, not just because of the alleged odor of marijuana, but also because officers smelled cologne. Really? Cologne? Law enforcement officers have argued in other cases that people will use cologne or other fragrance to cover up the smell of marijuana. Wow. Cases like Mr. Dobson's now present the Attorney General with a concrete opportunity to do something on his end, Cole writes. And Nazeen Ahmed, a spokesperson for Jackson's office, said he could not comment because of the pending litigation. The North Carolina Conference of District Attorneys, the North Carolina Association of Chiefs of Police, and the North Carolina Sheriff's Association jointly filed an amicus brief in Dobson's case, and attorney Robert Montgomery wrote on their behalf that to accept Dobson's argument would mean officers likely could never search an automobile based on marijuana odor and could never obtain a search warrant for a residence based on marijuana odor, even if other facts supporting probable cause were present. Montgomery also said that marijuana odor indicates the presence of marijuana while concealing that marijuana and hemp smell the exact same. And in a quote, although legalization of hemp now means the presence of marijuana does not make it a lock that the odorous substance is marijuana. Probable cause, nevertheless, still requires only probability, he said. And Montgomery argues that smokable hemp remains a niche market and that when officers think they smell marijuana, they're probably right, he says. Indeed, failing to investigate a marijuana odor further simply because there could be an innocent explanation would be like a building manager ignoring a fire alarm simply because it could have been triggered by someone burning a popcorn in a break room microwave. Cole said the argument would allow law enforcement to indefinitely detain people against their will and to conduct exhaustive, comprehensive searches of all their personal belongings, as well as every nook and cranny within their vehicles, even if, in theory, that means tearing out the seat cushions. In at least one recent case, a woman's attempt to prove she had purchased legal hemp still resulted in her car being searched and with her being criminally charged with marijuana possession. And Jalen Miller, a staff attorney with the advocacy group Emancipate North Carolina, filed a lawsuit on Prather's behalf, conducting a search and then charging someone for buying what they had every reason to believe was legal product makes no sense, Miller said in a quote. You cannot say to someone who legally purchased something that, hey, you did everything right, but what you did, what you didn't know is that they're doing everything wrong. So I'm going to take it out on you, right? Miller said. The lawsuit is pending, and Greenville city officials declined to comment. And Emancipate North Carolina started a "Don't Plead to Weed" campaign precisely because of cases such as Prather's. Miller said more than 30,000 people are charged with marijuana-related crimes every year, the nonprofit said. And Miller also said she filed a lawsuit in federal court because she is skeptical that the state appellate courts will rule in a way that grants people's constitutional rights, or guarantees that people's constitutional rights are not violated, you guys. But the court puts reinstatement of Cannabis Commission healed on hold, and a judge ruled that the oh, well, never mind. We're gonna roll into that next. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this. Crickets? You guys, you're on mute, Jesse.
Typically, when you look at the top of an article and there's that little arrow that says you can press a button in case maybe you can't read too well and you want to hear it, and it says that that article is 14 minutes long. Typically, Jenny's right on this one. We tend to come up with the condensed version. The reason why none of us ran away from your long-winded diatribe was because who knew that you had these different voices? The Southerner in me is deeply offended by the inflections. I'm deeply offended. Like, there's no fried green tomatoes for you. But I think if I was going to say anything, I would say in summary, we've been talking about odor as probable cause for a very long time. It's troubling to me that a police officer wasn't trained well enough to know that he can't smell the difference, that's possible. Or he's going to be the best flower judge in California next year. I'm not sure which.
That's what I was going to say, Yarrow. Dang it.
I mean, to be fair, Jason Beck said that he can smell whether flowers passing lab testing or not, and he can smell everything on there. So I guess he's the cop version of Jason Beck. But also, this story was the news version of the meeting that could have been a call that should have been an email that maybe didn't need to happen. This was very long-winded for us to just say this is absolute bullshit and odor shouldn't be probable cause.
Well, we'd like a little less foreplay out of your reporting, Jason.
Well, you know what? Whatever. Okay, you guys are all entitled to your opinions, and opinions are like assholes, and everybody has one. So. What's that, Mike? Michael, what do you think about this legally? I mean, in all honesty, like the analogy that the cop gives for why probable cause should still be legitimate, I think is, I think he makes for a point, but at the same time, I don't believe that just the smell alone should be probable cause to be able to violate people's rights. But I do think that he makes a compelling argument with his fire alarm, is saying, hey, it's like if a smoke alarm goes off and the building manager doesn't go and investigate it, you know what I mean, just because he thinks that it's the burnt popcorn, I mean, doesn't mean there could be a real fire going on.
Well, I think that this is a problem throughout the country, and it's still, and I know we all think that it's ridiculous and it shouldn't be, blah, 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 but unfortunately people throughout this country are dealing with this on a regular basis, and it's a real serious issue, especially with the testing equipment they're using on roadsides. So it's really a serious issue that we really have to take into, because this puts people in jail for hemp, for legal products that they think are legal, and this is the same thing with the THCA issue right now, which is, none of the tests, no matter what kind of test that they use. So they do have in Florida. So in Florida, it's a hodgepodge. So different counties and different jurisdictions have so far ruled kind of differently on whether or not odor is still probable cause. In one case where I'm in the Tampa area, the Second District Court of Appeal at one point said it doesn't matter that medical marijuana is legal or that hemp is legal now in this country. Odor has always been and always will be probable cause to search, right? So and this causes people to get arrested on a regular and consistent basis. And we had a case not too long ago. It was a U-Haul case. They were moving their cultivation equipment and stuff from one location to another for hemp. Cops smelled the odor of it. They opened it up, searched it, right? So these things are happening constantly. And, this issue of, and now in Florida, we kind of even have like, okay, well, fresh odor of marijuana could be okay and not subject to probable cause, but the burnt odor of marijuana, meaning like you're smoking while you're driving or in your car, is now still always probable cause, right? So can they make that differentiation in smelling it?
Illinois did. Illinois made that distinction, and they're legal.
But can cops, right? So that comes the ultimate question.
Again, back to my, repetitive ranting.
Yeah.
If a revised farm bill made the odor of cannabis no longer probable cause, we'd get some national guidance that would align with the protections people are theoretically supposed to have based on the National Farm Bill.
I have a question, Yarrow.
So that would be, because it's getting worked out differently in every state, and that's a relatively inefficient way for things to sort of get codified and then sort of bubble up. Why don't they just say at the top, okay, if hemp is legal nationally, then the smell of hemp or cannabis, its cousin, is no longer probable cause. Then we'd get some guidance from the top.
Why would they put that in the Farm Bill?
No. He wasn't. I don't think he was saying that.
I think that's what he was saying.
Because of the Farm Bill, right? Wouldn't that ultimately create that issue? And maybe if I correct, you're right. He said put it in the Farm Bill, and they could do that. But I think the issue is that until and I don't think there's a lot of federal arrests for cannabis based on odor right now, so that's really, I think, the way to be able to get it up, or maybe it could go up through a state court and then potentially into a federal writ or something like that to get to the federal court. So there'd be a federal nationwide kind of ruling on, hey, it's a Fourth Amendment violation based on, the legalization of hemp alone, say, and it not being a controlled substance, that the odor of hemp or cannabis, because they're undistinguishable, cannot be probable cause. So I think that would have to be on the federal level, that be challenged at some point through a federal court to technically, right, get up to the U.S. Supreme Court, because that's when these constitutional interpretations typically become interpreted and then would have to be applied nationwide through a court system versus, obviously, if we could get them to put it through the bill and do legislation on it, that would be great too. But I don't see Congress doing that.
Yeah, I'm with. I don't see Congress doing that. I definitely don't see them putting the smell into the Farm Bill. I don't know why they would even think about doing something like that. But nonetheless, Jenny Beth, you have any thoughts on this before we move on?
I think we're halfway through the show and we're on the second story, so I can't wait to hear what everybody else has brought for us today. All right. Good to hear from you, Michael. That was great.
All right, well, we're gonna roll right into attorney at law, Mr. Michael Minardi. He's from the great red state of Florida and has been helping patients, caregivers, advocates, and businesses navigate the complex legal realm of Florida's cannabis world. And you can find him at his law office at Minardi Law. It is none other than Mr. Michael Minardi.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday and happy high noon on the East Coast. Well, luckily, I'm twice the size of Mr. Beck, but my article is half the length.
Yeah.
Marijuana moment. Congresswoman blasts lack of cannabis banking protections in key spending bill by Kyle Yeager. A Democratic congresswoman is criticizing the exclusion of provisions to protect banks that work with state-licensed marijuana and hemp businesses from a key spending bill that advanced this week. During a House Appropriations Committee markup of the legislation covering financial services and general government, FSGG, on Wednesday, Rep. Betty McCollum said she was disappointed about the cannabis policy omissions. Without this common sense legislation, which has been included in past bills, this bill fails to ensure that all businesses have access to financial services, she said. While Minnesota recently legalized adult use, McCollum focused her comments largely on hemp, which was federally legalized under the 2018 Farm Bill. The hemp industry in the past 6 years and across the country in Minnesota have rebuilt a domestic supply chain of hemp and hemp products, the congresswoman said. Notably, while she advocated for hemp and cannabis industry banking access, McCollum also voiced support for her colleague, Rep. Andy Harris's, Republican from Maryland, work on the issue. Harris has sought to enact sweeping ban on intoxicating cannabinoid products derived from hemp, which make up a sizable portion of the market. Hemp is used in a variety of projects: textiles, paper, cardboard alternatives, construction of concrete, insulation, drywalls, lotions, and oils for therapeutic and medical purposes, she said. Hemp businesses are legal. Banks serving hemp businesses must file suspicious activity reports with the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, she said. Many banks find this heavily compliance burdensome, and they live in fear of federal penalties as a result. Many hemp businesses rely primarily on cash, and then, issues with defenses and robberies and things of that nature. The Democratic state sponsor said that despite efforts to coordinate meetings around the legislation, other priorities have taken precedent. Asked about recent comments from Senator Bernie Moreno, the lead GOP sponsor of the Safe Banking Act session, who told Marijuana Moment that he doesn't expect the bill to come up until this fall, Senator Jeff Markley said, hopefully sooner than later in my mind. While local lawmakers have found ways to work around the policy to some exigency by significantly expanding access to an existing medical marijuana program, advocates view the rider championed by Harris as a troubling infringement on D.C.'s autonomy. The White House has called the district's move to enact local marijuana reform an example of failed policy that opened the door to disorder. So banking is again another issue. Hopefully with the descheduling by President Trump, it will alleviate those issues as well. But I know some of you guys have money in the industry. How do you feel about it?
Man, I say pass safe banking already, man. That's what what we need. We just need some safe banking to get past. That would clear all of this up. I'm not sold that moving it to Schedule 3 is going to give us banking. I know there's different legal opinions on different sides. A lot of people say that it will, and I'm not convinced that it will. And people have made some compelling arguments or whatnot, but I'm still not convinced that that's gonna be a reality. But we will see, and we'll see ultimately how everybody gets screwed or doesn't get screwed one way or the other when it ultimately does happen. Jesse, I can see the look on your face, Jesse. Jesse's like, everyone's going to get screwed.
Yeah, that's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's absolutely insane that illegal hemp business, that banks are still filing suspicious activity reports, and that the that the SEC is still being used even against legal hemp companies. Government.
Mm-hmm.
So messed up.
Mm-hmm. Jenny Beth, any thoughts?
Mm-mm.
No, nothing, huh, Jenny Beth?
Mm-mm.
Oh man, pass safe banking already, you guys. I mean, we've been beating this dead horse for forever, And Senator Moreno has indicated that it is going to go at what point, and but what vehicle that goes in as far as what legislative piece of legislation that gets carried in is still, I think, yet to be determined. I heard there's might be a go in the crypto bill or whatnot, but time will tell. And on that, we're going to roll into.
I do actually have something, Jason.
Oh, go ahead.
Whatever. It doesn't matter if safe banking gets passed. That's going to be amazing. That's going to mean that banks can work with us. It doesn't mean that they have to work with us. It's still going to be determined by the bank and their risk department whether they want to work with cannabis operators or not. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if anybody's noticed, but as cannabis operators, we don't have the greatest track record with paying things like, I don't know, our fucking bills. So yes, it will remove barriers, but it's not going to be the end-all be-all solution. It doesn't mean that Chase has to give you an account tomorrow.
That's a fair point. There's a very, very, very fair point, Jenny Beth. And on that, we're going to roll into our next commercial, and we're going to be right back. But hold on. Actually, we are going to read this super chat that just came in from the C-Word. Thank you, the C-Word. He says, are states that don't have legal weed required to allow for hemp products? Well, yeah, hemp is legal. It's descheduled, bro. Come on, get with the program.
Every legend has a humble beginning.
In world news, leaders are gathering today for the annual summit.
I want to tell you something, Che. The government is watching us through the television.
Oh, John.
Look, right there. They're trying to hack into my TV box.
We're still not able to hack into the TV box, sir.
Ha! But they can't.
I've rebuilt the entire electronic system, and it sends and receives signals through quantum phase space. They'll never get in. Engage target.
In other news, local authorities are investigating a series of strange atmospheric phenomena reported by residents.
Ma'am, we're with the federal government. We need to ask you some questions.
John?
Is there a problem? We've been trying to penetrate your TV box for over 6 months.
I told you they were trying to watch us through the TV, but you didn't believe me.
We can't get in, and to be frank, we have no idea what you've created.
Yeah, that's the point. It's called privacy. You know what the Fourth Amendment guarantees?
All we know is that we can't get inside. We want to know if you can create one for us.
QUX. Even the government wants one.
Back right now.
Yes. All right. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you smash that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it. And YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.high9news.com. And over the weekend, I did record a video, little, investigative reporting story all on 9/11 with Congressman Kurt Weldon, who was recently on Tucker Carlson's podcast, along with Congressman Rohrabacher, all about 9/11, what we know, what we don't know, and whatnot. And I'm hoping that we are going to be able to release it on 9/11 at 11 a.m. So hopefully that all happens. But nonetheless, make sure you guys check that out, and we'll keep you guys posted as we move along with that.
Introducing QUX Pay, or simply the Pay app.
Where you can pay like it's nobody's business.
Because it isn't. It's what everyone's been clamoring for. It's finally here.
Secure every payment. Your data stays private. QUX will never sell your data for profit, period. Pay friends, family, contacts instantly. No hidden fees. No limits. Spend on the move.
With this patented technology, you can use debit, credit, bank transfers, cash cards, and even crypto completely offline.
Amounts transferred through the Pay app reach their destination instantly. Transfers in a flash. As quick as sending a text. No more waiting around like crypto. Are you ready for the future of payments? The state of the art for money is finally here.
Data privacy and security protocols trusted by militaries and banks worldwide. QUX Pay, the Pay app.
Available as an app and point of sale system, personal and corporate accounts available. Go to QUXPay.com and start using the Pay app today.
Oh, and we are back, Jenny Beth.
Coming in next from the Pacific Northwest, the Ginger Granddad of the High at 9 News, Gwen Barney's husband and the founder of Barney Design Co., Jesse Barney.
Yeah, thank you, Jenny. I can't.
That's my name. Good job.
I know. My brain is just not working this morning. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I hit it a little extra hard at the gym this morning.
Huh?
All right. My article comes out of the Marijuana Herald by Anthony Martinelli, our favorite short article writer. A longtime senior advisor to President Trump told the Marijuana Herald today that the president informed multiple people this week that he is going to reschedule cannabis. The advisor told us an announcement is coming. I have no doubt, but patience is key. They said that although they initially expected an announcement to come this week or last week, it's not surprising it would get pushed back a little. There's a lot going on right now, especially when it comes to Venezuela. They clarified that this does not mean an announcement isn't coming. We just have to be patient. Our president is aware of how many people are yearning for this, and I don't think he's going to make us wait much longer. The advisor added that although he believes an announcement is imminent, Trump isn't going to be rushed. The Marijuana Herald also spoke this evening with a celebrity well known in the cannabis community who confirmed that he was one of the people who was personally promised by Trump this week that he was going to reschedule cannabis. The only celebrity I can think of that talks to Trump on a regular basis is probably Mike Tyson. I take President Trump at his word, said the celebrity, who asked to remain anonymous but promised to speak to us on the record once an announcement is officially made. He told me to my face that he will reschedule, so to me, he'll do it. It will come any minute now. Trump is considering a move that would reschedule cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. When an official announcement will be made is currently unknown. Well, to me, this is the most exciting news going on in the cannabis industry overall. There's going to be big changes coming, in my opinion. There's a lot of disagreement in the cannabis industry as to how this is going to play out. And as per usual, I hope that Michael Minardi and Dr. Talleyrand are right. I hope that I'm wrong. I don't believe that I am. I'll toss it over to my fellow correspondents and see what they have to say.
You know, Jesse, I totally agree with you on that. If I had to guess who the celebrity that they're mentioning in this article is, I would definitely put my money that it's Mike Tyson. I would totally agree with that. But I think a lot of this is just more and more speculation. The fact that he heard from someone that's imminent. I mean, it's kind of stuff that we already knew, and we're all just kind of sitting back waiting. And of course, there's a lot of other things that are much more pressing in the world overall than just cannabis rescheduling. And so I don't think there's a big rush to just all of a sudden make some type of announcement and get something done. But I do think that it is going to happen in due time. So that's something that I just find astounding. Supposedly there's 500,000 or 500,000 employees in the cannabis industry. Mm-hmm. So prioritizing things going on in other countries over 500,000 employees and what's going on with the companies that are in charge of those 500,000 employees and the banking and every other thing, and not finding a result. I mean, there's a lot of stuff just hanging in the balance with this and a lot of uncertainty. Those 500,000 employees, Jesse, aren't subject to death, first of all, as much as what people are fighting for in these different ongoing wars that are going on. So I'd push back on that argument. And I think maybe, hold on a second, Jesse, he might want to wait until the jobs report is released to make the announcement, because after he makes the announcement, there'll be 500,000 people that are out of a job.
Possibly. I mean, that's exactly the problem. That's where I find fault with that is, it sucks to me that our country is more focused on being an empire. And that's the one downfall, I think, of President Trump is that he is an imperialist. And I wish that he wasn't. That's the one really big thing that I wish he would, just think more about our country and what's going on in it more than the imperial agenda.
AKA the American agenda.
Yep. America first.
Oh, I know. We are an empire for sure. It is our agenda for sure.
Listen,
I'm not disagreeing with that.
We have so many problems in this country. Cannabis shouldn't be one of them. And hopefully this happens. I'm really not excited about a move to Schedule 3, especially if what you guys say is even like a possibility, which I don't believe it is any realm of reality. But we obviously want to deschedule, but just the idea that it's going to be moving and everyone kind of knows it's going to be moving, or maybe it's just to kind of increase some stocks for a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. But it's to me, it's positive. It's a great thing, and hopefully it'll be done sooner rather than later. Again, I'll echo this and I'll say this over and over. This is a human rights violation that people are being locked up for a plant.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Yarrow, you want to opine? You're on mute, buddy.
I was just going to say,
sorry, you go.
No, I was going to say while he's still on mute, although moving it to Schedule 3 will not help anybody from being arrested or anything of that nature. So
correct.
Look at that. On that. I'm glad we agree on that.
I don't think Trump's going to do anything about it.
You don't think so?
I think this is a case of policy blue balls. I think he just likes to get everybody hot and bothered. I think he gets all the mileage he needs out of the conversation about what a maverick he is, and he could do it if he wants to. I think it goes nowhere, and I think that he doesn't care. And when we're quoting somebody whose reason for being quoted is that they are an actor or a Hollywood star, it's always interesting to me how somehow we seem to give the platform or the microphone to those people, even about things that have nothing to do with arts and entertainment. And one of those unnamed people saying that they trust the president on his word, and then us quoting that unnamed person that they trust the president on their word. Like, that is just not even news. Are you kidding me? I'm like, wait a second. Hold on a second. I trust the president. He told me so, but don't say who I am. But I trust him. Like, come on, that is total clown show.
I halfway agree with that, Yarrow. I do agree with you. I think it's kind of funny that he didn't want to be identified. You know what I mean? Other than this well-known celebrity, why not just say you're an American voter? And why need to put the celebrity on it?
Your entire credibility for being quoted is that you're a well-known celebrity. If you don't tell me how well-known you are, why do I even want to know what you have to think or say? Come on. I mean, it's like craziness. And I don't think he does it because I don't think he cares, and because I don't think it's part of his agenda, and because I don't think he wants to alienate a conservative base that might not be pro-cannabis. I mean, we know that the majority of Americans are in favor of cannabis, and we also know that there are portions of who voted Trump in that are. I would say if you took a poll of the United States and you said, find me the people who are not pro-cannabis and which percentage of them identify as Democrat or Republican, conservative or progressive, I don't know. I'm going out on a limb here. I would say that the majority of the people that do not support the legalization of this plant are probably not identifying as Democrat or progressive. They're typically what we would call the religious right in certain regions of this country. I don't think Trump wants to jeopardize his relationship with those groups merely to do the right thing.
Why? He's not going to go run for re-election. Why does it even matter?
No, he won't. Why run for re-election when you can just install a non-democracy? He talks. He runs his mouth about how a third term.
I would vote for him. I'd vote for him for a third term all day.
Of course you would, because your vote wouldn't matter. It's like those dead people you're worried about. You can't go 3 times. Stormy Daniels already told us that. He goes once and he's done.
Technically, he has ran for president 3 times though, Yarrow, already. So this would be the 4th.
Well, you can run as many times you want.
No, I think you're prohibited from being elected a 3rd time. Is that not still the case? So then if that is the case, you can't run if you've already been elected twice.
Well, he could run. He could run for his whole ego and be like, see, I won again. You know what I mean? And then that would be interesting.
No, I think it disqualifies you from running.
I think it, maybe depend on the language. In Florida, we thought that, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, no, you can't serve you can't serve more than X amount of terms consecutively. You can serve X amount of terms consecutively, then take a year off or go to the House, and then come back to the Senate and reserve again.
Yeah.
And your timeline, reset. So maybe he's going for something like that.
Yeah, show me in the four corners of the Constitution and the documents that guide that policy where it says you take a sabbatical.
That's
you
interesting.
Come back
That's an interesting.
Technically, he could just run on a Vance Trump ticket and come in as VP.
He could do that too.
Oh, yeah.
That would be so epic. Him being the vice president.
Crazy.
That'd be so awesome.
I mean, Cheney did it. Why can't he?
Hey, in all fairness, you do have a point there, Yarrow. Cheney did run the country under Bush #2.
Yeah,
that is true.
Yeah, he did.
Mm-hmm. That is true. Very, very, very true. Well, this was a very fun story. We're gonna roll into our final commercial, and we are gonna be right back.
Introducing QUX Pay, or simply the Pay app.
Where you can pay like it's nobody's business.
Because it isn't. It's what everyone's been clamoring for. It's finally here.
Secure every payment. Your data stays private. QUX will never sell your data for profit, period. Pay friends, family, contacts instantly. No hidden fees. No limits. Spend on the move.
With this patented technology, you can use debit, credit, bank transfer, cash cards, and even crypto completely offline.
Amounts transferred through the Pay app reach their destination instantly. Transfers in a flash. As quick as sending a text. No more waiting around like crypto. Are you ready for the future of payments? The state of the art for money is finally here.
Data privacy and security protocols trusted by militaries and banks worldwide. QUX Pay, the Pay app.
Available as an app and point of sale system, personal and corporate accounts available. Go to QUXPay.com and start using the Pay app today.
Jenny Beth, you want to introduce Yarrow?
Coming up next, he's got to go. He's short on time and on stature today. The real estate guru on the High at 9 News, Yarrow Kubrin.
Jenny is the pun master. I just want to say that real quick.
Thank you.
She's been pretty witty.
Good morning, High at 9 News viewers. I got to speed through this because I'm on to the next episode of my life, not this show. Hot off the press.
What's her name?
For my local rag, Press Democrat. Farm values dip as grapes and cannabis slump. Sonoma County's 2024 crop report. Supervisors to review report September 9th. This is by Roger Correll, updated on September 7th. That's yesterday. Some candid crop talk at the Sonoma County Board of Supervisors meeting Tuesday. The newly released 2024 Sonoma County crop report is on the agenda, and it shows the county's agricultural production grossed about $857 million last year, roughly down about 9.3% from 2023. An informal review ahead of the September 19th meeting. They've distilled the report's key findings. By the numbers, report puts total gross value, farm value, like I said, 857. Wine grapes came in about 250,000 tons, down 12% year over year. Average is about $3,000 per ton. Total wine grape value reached about $626 million. Again, about down 12% from last year. Apple saw a jump, 21% in overall value, brought in 9.2% more tonnage to the market than previous years. That was due to the chill hours and abundant soil moisture. So big up to our apples. Milk production surged 37%. I know you guys need to know about milk on this show. Poultry and eggs plummeted by 50%. Not good for the eggs. And cannabis continued its slump at $12.2 million in total value in 2024, less than half of 2023's $25.7 million. Cultivated acreage barely shrank, with about 13.5 acres countywide. Now remember, that means in the unincorporated areas. It doesn't count in within the cities. Similar to 2023, but low prices and market glut dragged the crop's value down. Cannabis figures are reported as an addendum to the main crop because, you know, we only get to be an addendum. We don't get to be in the main crop report. So apples found their sweet spot. Grapes were down. Dairy was up. Poultry took a beating. And cannabis is down 50%, but the total acreage was down nothing. So pretty easy to report on the bad news coming out of California, especially when it comes to cannabis cultivation. For me, I'm more interested in what we do about it. I can tell you this Saturday from 2 to 4:20, Sonoma County Cannabis Alliance is supporting a fundraiser for Supervisor James Gore, who's running for Mark McGuire's seat. So for me, what do we do about it? We try to put people in positions of power or to affect policy who are sympathetic to the industry and who understand agriculture and the history of agriculture in Sonoma County, and who ideally are going to have cannabis business-friendly policies. If you're interested in attending that event, that is kind of an invitation-only thing this Saturday. You can hit me up on Instagram or LinkedIn and DM me for the deets. Yarrow Kubrin, High at 9 News.
Yarrow Kubrin coming in with today's crop report on High at 9 News.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like trading places.
But Yarrow, my question is, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China?
Well, if this was a tea in China show, I would let you know. But because it's weed, I gotta go.
Wait, what, Jason? This is like the future of weed. I like you see what's happening in California.
Mm-hmm.
This is portending of, we know that the numbers of alcohol have gone down. Sales for alcohol have gone down dramatically in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And what has happened with the cannabis industry is California is the leader.
Mm-hmm.
It's showing us where it's going to go. So when you see some of the most important farmland in the country, when it comes to alcohol production and weed production, and the values going down because those things are also crashing, it's not good for the weed industry.
It's a proprietary California cultivar called Canary in the Coal Mine, and we are.
That's right. That's right.
Canary in the coal mine.
I think. Yeah.
Explain that. I haven't heard that one. Canary in the coal mine.
It's the yellow weed that you've been smoking, Jason.
I don't smoke yellow weed.
I gotta run.
I'm just messing with you.
Yes. Take care, Yarrow. We'll see you tomorrow, buddy. Have a great day today.
Bye, little fella.
Yeah, there we go. Bye, little fella.
I don't think this looks good. This is a really bad future that is being shown to us.
I agree. Like, but at the same time, we know that the economy is not the greatest, and agriculture is such a big component of all that. This is like, I don't think anybody's in dismay or surprised by this report.
No, not necessarily. Especially knowing, the Florida citrus industry has, had a hard go at it the past few years. Mm-hmm. And I really think this is a reflection of two things. And for me, I see that there's the availability for a lot of growth. And I think it was an article, I don't know if we discussed it, about Minnesota and, them creating, and actually that last article, some of those products that they were talking about. I think we need a lot more of that in the hemp space to be able to really increase and really create the agricultural crop that hemp is meant to be. Right. I really believe in it as an industrial product, and I think it should be more widely grown. Most of the hemp products that we get in this country, the clothing and things of that nature, is from China, hemp from China.
Yep.
They never stopped cultivating.
China.
If you're lucky, there's some sources out of like Nepal and India as well that you can get hemp from, but the majority of the places it's coming from China. So I think we have a real lot to do in that space, and I really hope that more manufacturing plants get built throughout this country to support those cultivators that are creating these products. So
Jenny, any thoughts on this?
Mm-mm.
No, nothing. You don't.
It's unfortunate. It definitely sucks, but
nothing to say about the crops, huh?
Mm-mm.
Jenny's only concerned with crop tops, apparently.
Whatever, Jason.
All right, fair enough. Well, I have one final story for you guys before we get out of here today.
Bringing up the caboose of the show, the biggest we were in at the High at 9 News, and hopefully this one's fast and no big words. And hopefully no direct quotes, because goodness gracious. Jason Beck, what do you got for us?
So mean, Jenny Beth. So mean. So mean. People, people in the chat say that they love they love my voices. You know what I mean? So stop being a hater. Because, and this is a follow-up story to a story that we've been covering on High at 9 News in regards, and we're going back to Michigan again, or Massachusetts again to close out today, because a court puts reinstatement of Cannabis Commission head on hold, you guys. That's right. A judge ruled that the fired chair of the Cannabis Control Commission must be reinstated, but the state filed an appeal to halt that order for 1 week. That's right. While a judge ruled that the fired chair of the Cannabis Control Commission was wrongfully removed from her position, Shannon O'Brien, she won't be back at the helm quite yet. O'Brien, a former state treasurer and one-time Democratic nominee for governor, was appointed to the commission back in 2022 until her suspension a year later. State Treasurer Deborah Goldberg then fired her in September of 2024, accusing her of gross misconduct, making race-based remarks and bullying. However, Goldberg's decision to remove O'Brien was made of a house of cards, Suffolk Superior Court Judge Robert Gordon wrote in his decision issued last week. Goldberg, through Attorney General Andrea Campbell, is now appealing that ruling, according to court documents. A judge agreed to stay the judgment, which included returning O'Brien to her position and all due back pay and benefits for about a week. O'Brien's term will expire on August 31st of 2027, and the judge ruled. But O'Brien's lawyers have until Wednesday to respond, after which a judge will rule on the appeal. And a spokesperson for the state treasurer did not return a request for comment Sunday evening. O'Brien was planning to return to her role as chair of the embattled CCC on Friday, a spokesperson for O'Brien told Boston.com, but the treasurer continues to waste taxpayer dollars by filing an unreasonable appeal to the Massachusetts Appeals Court. Treasurer Goldberg will be wise to heed Judge Gordon's decision, stop the smearing of Shannon O'Brien's character, and let her do the job Goldberg appointed her to on September of 2022, the spokesperson said in a statement. Goldberg's office has reportedly paid the Morgan Lewis and Bacchus more than $970,000 in legal fees, the Boston Globe reported last week. Wow, $970,000, bro, for this lady to maintain her position at the commission. That is an astronomical fee, in my opinion, and ultimately it's going to get burdened, I think, probably ultimately on the taxpayers, because it sounds like this lady's probably going to win her case. But I'm not sure if this appeal is going to win, but I'd love to hear what you have to say about this, Michael.
I'd say it's always on the taxpayers, right?
Yep.
I mean, I think it's always ridiculous. The city is, I don't, know the basis totally of everything, but they're just wasting money, wasting time instead of doing the right thing, moving forward. And, I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of a huge waste to me.
Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on this, Jesse?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Sounds like a big waste.
One big waste. One big waste. I mean,
and it won't even matter if maybe in a year they won't even have a regulated cannabis industry. So why does this even matter?
What do you guys say, Jenny?
It's valid. It's an egregious waste of time and money, but hey.
Hey, it's
welcome to the cannabis industry.
I mean, Massachusetts definitely knows how to waste money. I mean, they elect people like, Elizabeth Warren as their senator, so of course they know how to waste money.
Okay.
Just saying.
Well, speaking of wasting, we didn't waste any time today, Jason. You read one of the longest stories you've ever read, and you're dangerously close to being on time today. I'm proud of you, Jason.
Look at that. I'm expeditiously efficient over here, Jenny.
No, I take credit as expediting, but you did a good job.
I dodged the news today, Jenny Beth.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I guess that was pitfalls.
Oh, yes. And thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high at noon on the East Coast. And big shout out to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Catalyst Cannabis for helping us keep the lights on over here. And thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing. Thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do this every day. And thank you to Cloud Media partners Elias and Kai are somewhere in the metaverse. And thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show.